Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Look, right now, a massive shift is completely upending how we define, measure, and engage the modern workforce. We're going to dive deep into the AI era workforce paradigm, specifically unpacking the research and methodology behind WorkDNA. If you've ever felt like the way we work and how we're measured at work is fundamentally broken, you're definitely not alone, and you are in exactly the right place. Think about this famous quote for a second. It just brilliantly highlights the sheer absurdity of how we traditionally manage people. In the standard corporate workplace, everyone is often measured by the exact same rigid yardstick, completely ignoring their unique strengths. We take entirely different people, force them into the exact same mold, and then act surprised when they burn out or disengage. It's wild. And that actually leads us to a highly relatable and, frankly, critical question. What if that A, B, C, or D performance grade you got at the end of the year actually says way more about the person who scored you than it does about your actual work? Yeah, it's a super frustrating thought, isn't it? But get this, it's not just a feeling, it's backed by hard science. 62%, according to the research, that is the shocking amount of variance in your performance rating that comes directly from your boss's own idiosyncratic biases and habits. Meaning, only about 21% reflects your actual day-to-day performance. Think about the sheer unfairness of that for a minute. We're making massive career and compensation decisions based on a system that is statistically flawed. So let's dive into the roadmap and see exactly how WorkDNA solves this crisis step by step, shifting us from a static factory model to a living ecosystem. Here's our agenda. 1. The broken grading system. 2. Unlocking your human DNA. 3. Building your AI DNA. 4. Strategy as operating system. 5. Agentic AI in daily work. And finally, 6. The future human workforce. Let's get right into it. Starting with Section 1, the broken grading system, moving beyond A through D scores. Now, what's really fascinating here is that the catalyst for this big change isn't just about creating better HR practices. It's quite literally about technological survival. Check this out. According to the World Economic Forum, 39% of core skills are going to shift by the year 2030. AI isn't just some shiny new tool. It's actively rewriting the entire nature of job roles. And what that means is the old way of defining a job description and grading people against a static checklist, it's completely breaking down. We literally cannot survive the next decade using measurement systems from the last century. So the contrast here is just stark. Traditional HR, it relies on those outdated A through D grades, clunky spreadsheets, and frankly, a culture of surveillance where AI is feared as this big replacement tool. On the flip side, the WorkDNA approach introduces what is basically a unified human intelligence OS. It operates on anti-ranking, it's all about transparent fit, dynamic evidence pulled from real work, and using AI as a teammate to augment human potential rather than replace it. Moving right along to Section 2, unlocking your human DNA. Discovering your true work identity. So, the crucial question here is, what exactly replaces that broken grading system? Well, the answer starts with the human core. You see, WorkDNA doesn't just hand you a single basic personality test and call it a day. Instead, the system synthesizes multiple real-world signals. We're talking your actual skills, daily work habits, 360-degree feedback, and project history to create a readable, totally objective profile of your human skills. It discovers your dominant DNA and your true passion zones. It completely shifts the conversation from "are you good?" to "what context are you best in?" They actually measure this through 5 holistic lenses of what they call deployment fit. It starts with step 1, matching your identity to the role, and step 2, leveraging your actual strengths. But step 3, that's the real game changer, energy. Are you stuck in your drain zone? You know, doing things you might actually be good at but absolutely hate? Avoiding that drain prevents obsessive burnout and keeps your energy harmonious. Then comes engagement, and finally, a clear, sequenced path for growth. And this brilliantly illustrates how the framework categorizes people into 11 universal archetypes. For example, you've got visionaries who see future possibilities, and builders who actually ship the working products. Categorizing by these archetypes creates an incredible, non-judgmental language for team dynamics. You aren't bad at your job, you might just literally be a visionary trapped in an operator's role. It makes total sense. Let's shift gears to Section 3, building your AI DNA. AI as augmentation, not replacement. Now it's time to address the elephant in the room, AI job replacement.
Let's see how this framework builds a safe environment for human augmentation instead of sparking mass panic.
WorkDNA introduces this 10-dimension AI readiness radar. But pay close attention here. This is not a replacement score. There is absolutely no black box AI secretly judging your worth. Instead, it measures how ready you are to collaborate safely with AI. It maps out things like problem framing, ethical accountability, and contextual intelligence, showing you exactly how to develop your unique, durable human edge. To do this safely, you really have to map out the work. The WorkDNA AI task maps work super intelligently. You delegate the repeatable stuff directly to tools. Use AI to draft and analyze, then have a human verify it. You strictly keep judgment, trust, and ethical accountability as entirely human-owned. And here's the coolest part. You deliberately preserve certain tasks for learning. We absolutely must keep doing some things the hard way, by hand, so we don't lose our fundamental human capabilities.
Okay, Section 4, Strategy as Operating System, from static decks to living execution. Now we're shifting from individual DNA to the entire organizational organism, leaving those static PowerPoint strategies in the dust.
The strategy DNA loop actually forces leaders to ask the hard questions. Take choice DNA. Where are we playing, and what are we actively refusing to do? Or capability DNA. Do we actually have the unique assets and skills to pull this off? It takes these high-level executive choices and actively translates them into daily downstream outputs, like OKRs, resource allocation, and hard skill evidence. Strategy becomes a living, breathing system. Which brings us to Section 5, Agentic AI in Daily Work, Safe and Controlled AI Assistance. Let's actually explore how this high-level strategy gets executed, say on a random Tuesday afternoon, using Agentic AI that preps the work for you. So agentic means the AI doesn't just sit there waiting for a prompt, it actively prepares the next step. But control is absolutely paramount here. The 5-level agentic ladder goes from a simple level 1 notification all the way up to level 5, automated actions within strict limits. The crucial point to remember here is that the emergency stop is always on by default. AI never hires, fires, or changes pay. Human approval remains the ultimate authority, period.
Here is a brilliant, highly practical example of this trust framework in action: meeting intelligence. I mean, we all hate meetings that result in a transcript literally nobody ever reads again, right? Well, here, the AI reads the conversation and actually drafts the decisions, assigns action items, and flags risks. But sticking strictly to the rules of the ladder, absolutely nothing becomes an official task in your company's system until a human reviews and approves it. You are always the final editor.
And finally, Section 6, the future human workforce, building an evidence-backed ecosystem. Bringing it all together, how do we actually use this ecosystem to build a truly aligned and thriving human workforce? This leads to one of the most tastefully designed features in the entire framework, the surprise moment. The system quietly scans profiles across the company using plain old arithmetic, no AI hallucinations here, to find the exact colleague whose strengths perfectly cover your weaknesses, and vice versa. It gives you a little nudge, but it's double opt-in. It only ever reveals names if both people agree. It's just a beautifully private way to organically pair colleagues for ultimate teamwork, totally safe from those toxic HR leaderboards. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway of the whole WorkDNA philosophy. It's a pretty simple truth. Nobody is inherently not good at their job. They just might not be in the right place yet. When you focus on deployment fit, actually placing the right person with the right strengths in the right context, you effectively eradicate the root cause of burnout. When people do the right work, happiness comes first, and the results naturally follow without anyone needing to push. So, I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. Look closely at your own operations, your own team, or even your own career. Are you relying on static grades and rigid systems to survive a rapidly changing technological landscape? Or are you ready to embrace this paradigm shift and build a dynamic, AI-augmented ecosystem for the future? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.